DALL-E 3 dies on Monday, and almost nobody's mourning. Meanwhile, Luma ships a reasoning image model as a REST endpoint. The Cloud Security Alliance drops a spec to stop poison documents from hijacking your AI copilot. And a new Gallup study says creative jobs aren't vanishing. They're just being reorganized underneath people's feet. From the team at the Synthetic Daily, it's Sunday, May 10th, 2026. Good to have you with us.
We went through about 35 posts, articles, and threads across LinkedIn, Substack, and YouTube over the past week to dive deeper into the world of creative AI.
Here's something that would have been unthinkable 18 months ago. On Monday, May 12th, OpenAI officially kills the DALL-E 3 API. Pulls the plug. Done. And the reaction from the developer community has been, basically, a shrug. That tells you everything about how fast this market has moved.
DALL-E 3 was removed from ChatGPT back in December, replaced by GPT Image 1.5, which is faster, handles text better, and plugs directly into GPT 5.4. But the real story isn't OpenAI replacing its own model. It's that the competitive landscape has fractured into something genuinely interesting. Black Forest Labs' FLUX.1 Schnell, the open-weight variant, now captures roughly 40% of API-based image generation traffic. 40%. That's developers and enterprises saying, "We'd rather host this ourselves, thanks."
Meanwhile, Midjourney V7 has become the undisputed champion for anything that needs to feel cinematic and art-directed. They shipped enhanced 2K resolution and improved 3D spatial logic this year. Ideogram 3.0 owns text rendering, which sounds niche until you realize that means logos, social graphics, product mockups, basically anything a marketing team actually needs. And Leonardo.ai, now owned by Canva, is building a whole platform play with its Lucid Origin and Phoenix models alongside FLUX.
That's a great point. What we're watching isn't one model winning. It's specialization. The one model to rule them all era lasted about 6 months, and now we're in a horses for courses world where professionals pick the right tool for the right job. A Dribble survey found 61% of professional designers used Midjourney in the past month. But they're also using Ideogram for type-heavy work and FLUX when they need API-level control. The moat isn't the model anymore. It's the workflow.
There's another angle worth talking about. Luma Labs made a move this week that got a surprising amount of traction on LinkedIn. They shipped the Uni 1.1 API, and the pitch is genuinely different from what we've heard before. Built-in prompt enhancement, research, and reference gathering at the API level. Trained, they say, in collaboration with Hollywood cinematographers, VFX artists, and world-class creators across cultural forms. Less than half the price and latency of comparable models.
Neo Kim posted about stopping the practice of writing perfect prompts, just explaining what you want in plain language and letting Uni 1 figure out the rest. She tested it with a fintech logo design. No jargon, no style references, just design a modern logo for Finstro, a fintech company focused on trust, security, and seamless digital payments. And without being told, the model leaned into clean geometric forms, a blue-teal palette, subtle motion cues, minimal scalable design. It understood the domain context without being spoon-fed.
Abdirahman Jama called it the first AI image model that actually reasons, now available as a REST endpoint. His argument isn't about the model itself. It's about what happens when you can put reasoning-based image generation behind a function call. A CMS that generates brand-consistent assets inside the editor. A CRM that renders personalized visual outreach per account from live data at send time. A docs pipeline that turns Markdown into architecture diagrams at build time.
This matters because it represents a shift from creative tool you interact with to creative capability you embed in software. And Luma's already showing up in production contexts. They're a backer of innovative dreams, That AWS-backed Hollywood startup that shot a 3-episode series in a single week using AI tools. A production that would have taken a traditional crew 5 or 6 weeks.
Rock Lambros dropped something this week that deserves way more attention than it's gotten. The Cloud Security Alliance published SAGE, Security Analysis and Guidance Exchange. Not a white paper, a normative spec. And the problem it solves is one that should terrify anyone running RAG-based AI systems in a security context.
Here's the setup. Wei Zhou and colleagues proved at Usenix Security 2025 something called PoisonedRAG. 5 poison documents injected into a retrieval index achieved a 90% attack success rate. 90%. Think about what's in a typical security copilot's knowledge base. CSA white papers, NIST drafts, vendor advisories, internal threat models. All of it scraped, chunked, embedded. No integrity check. No signature. No way to authenticate the publisher.
So one malicious document in your retrieval index can influence what your incident responder sees at 3 a.m. when they're triaging an alert. Lambros calls this the structured narrative gap. We have STIC for threat intelligence, OSCAL for compliance, Serif for static analysis results. But none of them cover the integrity and provenance of the narrative documents that AI systems consume and reason over.
SAGE is Jim Revis's brainchild. He's the CEO of the Cloud Security Alliance, and it's designed to let you cryptographically verify the source, version, and integrity of documents before they enter a retrieval pipeline. It's the kind of infrastructure play that nobody thinks about until something goes catastrophically wrong. And given that every enterprise is rushing to build AI copilots on top of internal document stores, catastrophically wrong is more a matter of when than if.
Here's something that caught my eye. Corridor Crew's latest videos pulled staggering engagement numbers this week. We're talking north of 600,000 interactions on their UFO debunking episode alone. And here's what's interesting about that in 2026. These guys have become, almost accidentally, the most effective media literacy educators on the internet.
Their format is straightforward. Professional VFX artists look at footage, whether it's claimed UFO sightings from fans or CGI from major films, and they explain exactly how they can tell what's real and what's fabricated. They break down lighting inconsistencies, motion tracking artifacts, compositing tells. It's entertainment, sure, but it's also training millions of viewers to develop critical visual instincts at exactly the moment when AI-generated imagery is flooding every platform.
Think about the timing. We just talked about image models that reason, about video generators that maintain character consistency across shots, about production pipelines that collapse weeks of work into days. The technical barrier to creating convincing visual fabrications has essentially vanished. And here's Corridor Crew, episode after episode, teaching their audience the grammar of visual deception. What to look for, how professionals spot fakes, why certain artifacts appear.
Their latest CGI reaction episodes, numbers 223 and 224, are particularly relevant because they're now reacting to AI-generated content alongside traditional VFX, and the analysis is getting more nuanced. The crew has to articulate not just this is fake, but here's what kind of fake this is and what tool probably made it. That's a genuinely valuable public service when James Cameron can put a title card on Avatar. Fire and Ash saying no generative AI was used, while simultaneously sitting on the board of Stability AI. The visual world is getting complicated, and someone needs to teach people how to read it.
Now, shifting gears a bit, Gallup dropped a study on May 4th that complicates the dominant narrative around AI and creative work. Drawing on their panel workforce studies and federal labor market data, a team publishing in the Journal of Cultural Economics found little evidence that generative AI has broadly reduced artists' earnings. Artistic occupations with the highest exposure to large language models, music directors, and composers top the list with an exposure score around 0.70. Haven't seen the sharp wage declines many predicted.
But before anyone declares victory for the AI won't replace artists camp, there's a darker undercurrent. The Animation Guild published a report noting that 41,000 jobs in film and television have disappeared in Los Angeles County over the past 3 years. That's real people, real paychecks gone. So what gives? How do you square no broad wage collapse with 41,000 lost jobs?
The answer, according to the researchers, is reorganization. The work isn't disappearing, it's being restructured. Fewer people are doing more, often with AI-augmented workflows. The people who remain employed may be earning the same or more, but the total number of seats at the table has shrunk. It's the classic productivity paradox. The average worker is fine, but the marginal worker is gone.
This maps perfectly to what we're seeing in production. That innovative dream studio backed by AWS? They shot 3 episodes in a week with AI tools. Work that would have employed a full crew for over a month. The per-person economics might look great. The total employment picture is a different story entirely. And Suno's CEO Mikey Schulman telling The Hollywood Reporter that people are starting to be more comfortable being public about creating with AI. That comfort is itself a signal that the reorganization is becoming normalized, not that the disruption isn't happening.
This next one surprised me. There's a quiet but meaningful rebellion happening in how people talk about prompting AI. Ruben Hassid's LinkedIn post this week got over 3,000 engagements with a provocative claim. Stop writing 500-word prompts. His alternative? A 35-word prompt that references an anti-AI writing style file. Essentially, a document containing every known pattern of AI-generated writing that you want to avoid, uploaded as context.
It's a clever hack, but it points to something bigger. The era of prompt engineering as a standalone skill might be ending faster than anyone expected. Neo Kim made essentially the same argument from the image side. She stopped writing perfect prompts and her results got better. Just explain what you want. Let the model figure it out.
This isn't just LinkedIn thought leadership fluff. It reflects a real architectural shift. When Luma builds prompt enhancement directly into the API layer, when models ship with built-in research and reference gathering, the complexity is moving from the user to the system. The model does the prompt engineering for you.
Exactly. And on a related note, for professionals who spent the last 2 years building expertise in elaborate prompt chains, this is an uncomfortable development. But for everyone else, for the designer who just wants a logo, the marketer who just wants copy, the developer who just wants working code, it's liberation. The tools are getting good enough that the skill isn't in talking to the machine. It's in knowing what you actually want. And that, it turns out, has always been the hard part.
All right, let's zoom out and talk about the bigger picture. What are the main themes running through everything we covered today? The first big theme is infrastructure eats interface. The competitive advantage in generative AI is migrating from model quality to API-level capabilities and pipeline integration, making the last mile of creative tooling more valuable than raw generation power.
Next, trust layers for AI knowledge. As RAG architectures become standard, the absence of cryptographic provenance for ingested documents creates attack surfaces that existing security frameworks were never designed to address.
Next, the productivity paradox in creative work. Stable per-worker earnings coexisting with massive job losses reveals that AI's impact on creative industries operates through headcount reduction rather than wage compression.
And the last one, visual literacy as civic infrastructure. The same week image generation models gain reasoning capabilities, entertainment format debunking content hits its highest engagement ever, suggesting a growing public appetite for tools to navigate synthetic media. So if you're going to take away a few things from today's episode, here's what I'd remember.
Number 1. DALL-E dies Monday, and nobody cares. The real battle is now between specialized tools fighting for different parts of the creative workflow, not one model trying to do everything.
Number 2. Your AI security copilot is only as trustworthy as the least verified document in its retrieval index, and right now, most organizations have zero verification.
Number 3. The people still employed in creative industries are doing fine. The people who got reorganized out are invisible in the wage data, but very real in the unemployment line.
And finally, prompt engineering is being automated away by the very models it was designed to control. The durable skill is knowing what you want, not knowing how to ask for it.
That's the Synthetic Daily for today. All the sources and links are on the website if you want to dig deeper.
Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.